So namaste to all of you. So the talk is around this upcoming show. So straight away I invite you all to the show on July 10th. It's a dance on this character called Radha. It's depicting different aspects of her. So why the yoga students are always called and why we do a lecture demo in the yoga studio is because when we started the whole teaching of yoga here, we were kind of encouraged to do so by the founder of Temple of Fine Arts, Swami Shantanand Saraswati. So it was his inspiration to us that the yoga philosophy and dance mythology should be integrated, and we should really don't just present dance as dance, but also give the philosophy of yoga to bring that mythology a rich context. So devotion is a devotional thing, much of the Indian dances, but to give it a little bit of a philosophy base. At the same time, the yoga students will benefit from the rich devotional mythological constructs of dance. So otherwise we can get too much in that abstract, non-heart, more logic-based kind of thinking. So it was his inspiration that we decided to always do this. So before the dance, we set up the context, and Sandhya too really asked me about the whole thing, and so she also wants to live the philosophy, dance the philosophy, along with the techniques and the story. So the one big base of any of presentations of Manasa Yoga, the dance is this great saint, and then we have Sandhya last year visiting this place called Vrindavan. After that trip, she was extremely moved. Sandhya always had a bit more of that, much more of that devotional kind of connection to the Indian mythology and all than me. So she was very moved after coming from that place. And I had a feeling that this place is more of Krishna. It's called Vrindavan, is where Krishna's youth was, like he grew up in that place. So in my mind, Vrindavan is a place of Krishna. So she'll come back with Krishna kind of feeling. Instead, the only thing she kept on saying after coming from that trip is this. Radha, she's always talking about this Radha character. So from that time, she was keen on doing a piece on Radha. So that is a big context behind the show, the Vrindavan. And she also told me that through the dance, and she wants to bring that taste to the viewers, that they are in Vrindavan, to get a similar feeling she got when she was in Vrindavan, which was very touching. And so now we are looking into Sandhya's main dance piece. So that's called Ashtanayikas. So what she is doing is depicting 8 states of Radha as she waits in that whole Radha-Krishna love relationship. So it starts with Vasaka Sajja. Vasaka Sajja is where Radha adorns herself, she decorates her house, she decorates her bed and everything in that thronging kind of anticipation that Krishna, tonight is the night, Krishna is going to come. So that kind of feeling. So Radha adorns herself almost every day in that anticipation. So she does that, Vasaka Sajja. And teaching for us is whether we can do that daily as well. So Krishna represents the highest, that the highest will come to you today. And are you prepared for that? And so we can look at it from different points of view, and whether we can even intend like that. So to expect Krishna to come to our house, that is a big expectation. But the risk with that expectation is the viraha, or the suffering which will follow if he doesn't come. And we might be scared of that expectation-based suffering. And the regular philosophy kind of teachings will be, don't expect. Okay, don't go raga way. Raga means that attraction. But Radha says, that's exactly how I'm going to go. So Vasika Saja is a beautiful teaching. So everything, whether it's asana, we prepare. What we do is we prepare. When we do asana, what we do, we should see it like Vasika Saja. We are preparing for the arrival of that insight, for that formless intelligence and formless energy, the formless essence of ours to really come into the land of Vrindavan in us, into the place of Gopi in us, which is Sattva. So we decorate the Gopi land, which is Sattva. So we decorate that place through asanas. Okay. Then, of course, he doesn't come many days, and then she goes through 5 emotions of extreme suffering. So they're called Viraha Kantida, and it goes on. So it'll look like she's suffering, but that's where Radha's suffering is different. Because in that suffering, she's still connecting to love. And that's where we can't understand Radha's love. And so she really suffers, but she never lets go of loving. Okay, so like sometimes we'll take the stance that, okay, I will never love anybody, I will never trust anybody. That kind of stance we take because I don't want to hurt again. So Radha never goes that way. Radha holds on to that loving, and finally that holding on to that loving, though she knows in a physical way that love is never going to be fulfilled, she holds on to the love, and that gives her that enlightenment. So her entire suffering is her yoga. It's a practice, like she stays with love, though love really challenges her through the suffering. Okay, so that would be the few things. Sandy, you want to show anything? No? Okay. So lastly, Abhisarika she makes an effort to go out to meet her lover. So that how we take it is she is going into that process by which she meets the highest within herself. So she's going to make it happen. So that kind of practice. So she suffers, but yet she is loving. And Abhisarika is where she really, in that process, where she starts to receive him stage by stage. And lastly, Swadhina Bhartruga is where he is with her. Totally with her. And that again is not physically, he is always with Rukmini. So Krishna, after marriage, never breaks his wedlock to visit Radha in the night or anything. Neither does Radha hate Rukmini and send hate messages or anything. So they all understand their roles, but in that soul, Krishna is completely with her. It's an inner realization. So that's where she sees Krishna everywhere, and she can take that love out. So she feels that love, and then she can. Even today morning, I was trying to generate some feeling of love, and I was trying to feel that that love, can I feel it as the water is flowing into my hand? I can't. I'm trying to feel that love as to spread everywhere and to receive. So, but that's a practice. That's Radha's practice, and that's a beautiful invitation to all of us. So Radha, just a cowherd girl. Radha, anything but just a cowherd girl. Radha, she's human. Radha, she's divine. Radha, she's suffering in love. Radha, she's bliss in love. Radha, she's disunited from her lover. Radha, she's always with love. Radha is beauty. Radha is purity. Radha is strength. Radha is special. Radha is unique. Radha is a mystery. Radha is an inspiration. Radha is each one of you. So that's the direction we'll go. And Radha, in the poet's words, he explains that Radha is a garden of beauty, a little bud almost bloomed, her face a reflection of the full moon. So this is rich, this tradition is full of these kind of poetic descriptions which will evoke a taste in us. Having delicate limbs, a pretty laugh, full of rasa, an embodiment of art and sport. So sport we will make it as Ashtanga Vinyasa and all that, and art. And like a priceless jewel of an ocean of splendor, full of charm and play, excelling in playing musical instruments, adorned with adornments, rather big-eyed, swinging with joy. So this is the description of Radha. Vishnu takes birth as Krishna, and prior to Krishna's birth, there are these characters called Kamsa. So Kamsa is projected as this evil force, and he is really upsetting the the balance of the world. So Kamsa, what he does is he routinely sends demons. Any child in that age, he gives them the orders to kill them. Okay, so these different demons keep visiting Krishna's locality, and Krishna, being the avatar he quite casually disposes them off. So again, for us, these are children, and it's not an old thing that children get visited by demoniac forces. Okay, so for us, these statistics I could only get from 2000 till 2008. So what we are seeing is different kinds of child abuse in Malaysia. So every year, in 2001 it's around 1,000, and by 2007 is 2,000. So in around 5-6 years, it's doubling. So when you say around 2,000 child abuse in a month, it's quite a high, in a year, it's quite a high number. You know? So it's like almost 200 cases in a month. So it's like close to 6 to 8 children a day. So we can see all this as the routine coming of this Kamsa-ish demoniac forces. We don't know what they derive out of it, but they come and violate the children, kill the children, rape the children, and it's not always the children as well. Okay, so these forces are still present. That's where this whole context of Abhaya comes about. So we put the name Abhaya, meaning freedom from fear. So we formed this NGO, and it is dedicated to tell and convince that each one of them is Radha too. So that is our direction. So we aim to kindle the Radha spirit in them through, so we are trying to awaken the Radha in them, but first we have to awaken the Radha spirit in us. So sometimes we might not have that much passion for this kind of work. So we might see something and we can discern it to be cruel and sad, but we are not really like in that Radha kind of love towards the kids and towards the affected, and which moves us into intense action. So we need to work on it, and only once the Radha in us is awake, we can awaken the Radha in them. And we try to do that. So Sandhya's direction is to do that through art. So we are looking at enlisting the support of any artist who will be willing to donate. The structure we are all trying to, all of you can contribute later in terms of how it can all be organized very well. So in a certain number of hours, and Sandhya wants the yoga philosophy to be the main, like many places, like artists can go teach them something and come out, but we want that art and yoga to empower them, to transform them. And for that, we have chosen Dashamahavidya as the main teaching. That's a powerful, radical teachings of the feminine. So that's the direction, and let's connect them to Vasaga Sajja, meaning an interest. What crushes them is that spirit. They don't feel like dressing up every day. They feel it's done. They are with a sense of disgust and what happened to them. Somehow we have to again make them connect to that Vasaga Sajja in them. Daily waking up with hope, and that great things will happen to them that day. Greatness will visit them that day. Beauty will visit them that day. Love will visit them that day. Somehow we have to connect them to Vasaga Sajja, and let's help them be an Abhisariga. Abhisariga is where they actually take steps. Okay, so not just inspire, we can go and inspire by giving a talk, but then helping them to take the steps, and then eventually let them, may they feel Radha and may they find their Krishna. So that is the direction. We have started work with whoever is coming. We are discussing, and you can support us. So Abhaya's first project is this dance on Radha. So we are still in that process, and it is reasonably expensive to come out with the production. So you can help us by spreading word, and if you can contribute in any way towards the production cost, either from you or your company or anything, if you have suggestions, we can send out appeal letters, and most importantly, come for the show, for that spirit. Okay, so that's all. Namaste, Radhe Radhe.